My name is ALLA Dickson. I was born in Belarus, former Soviet Republic, in 1960, October 4. My father was military officer. That's how we were relocated when I was baby to Moscow, where we lived for 5 glorious years. It's a cultural center, so my parents got their phenomenal introduction of a Russian culture. After 5 years, the order was to move to Siberia. And that's where interest in life started. I remember very clearly when I was 6, it was beginning of September, and we started our journey to nowhere. I remember clearly my shock from what I've seen through the window. Dirt, mud everywhere. Houses, half windows were in the ground. And this shocking that how people could live in such conditions. And it was glorious, actually. It was, and as a child I was free to run around in the woodland and do whatever I wanted to do. All kids were just in the freedom of exploration. But I got addicted to art, creativity. Again, clearly remember the day, because I remember my mom went outside, picked up cucumber and carrot, put it on the table, took watercolors and brush, and she sat with me and we painted a carrot and a cucumber. I remember the feeling of magic, that it was just white paper first. And all of a sudden, within 10-15 minutes, we have carrot and cucumber. I still remember the sense of wonder. So I got addicted to art immensely. All my life I was painting. I never had any education of any sort in art, for the exception of elementary school art classes, as everybody has. So we stayed there around 4 years, and then my father made a decision to continue his education, and he graduated and got his degree in the English language. He was summoned up for interview, and within 1 month, we were leaving to live in Cairo, another unusual land. I was 10 at that time. As soon as we arrived in the apartment, my parents were still opening all their suitcases. As a curious child now, ran outside on the street of Cairo, and I'm going around and smelling and listening to sounds and looking at people. And all of a sudden, from the bushes, one Arabic girl came to me. And she started speaking in Arabic, and I didn't understand anything, of course. However, my father taught me 2 phrases, and it was, "What is your name?" "My name is ALLA." "Her name is ALLA." She was also 10-year-old. We became inseparable friends. At that time also, this interesting incident happened. As we were talking about, and she was telling me history of Egypt and pyramids and things. And one of them was, she started talking something and showing me skies. And I realized that she was talking about God. Of course, if I didn't know the word God, because it was prohibited in Russia. And I, no, Allah, no. And she got incredibly upset with me for the first time in our friendship. And explained my father about this story. Said, you listen to me and repeat phrases, and you're going downstairs, you go to her and you say those 2 phrases. And so I knocked on the door and I tried as good as I could repeat these phrases. She was there standing looking at me, still very angry. "I am sorry. In Russia there is no God, but I respect and I'm sorry." And at last, after a few minutes in silence, she nodded her head, saying that I thought she forgave me, but with difficulty. That was the moment which, again, I remember all my life, that even though we love each other tremendously, we might have different opinion. And the most important thing is to be open, different viewpoint, different way of living, in spite of differences. There are so many beautiful things we still can be connected with. That time, I made a decision. I need to study languages in order to be able to communicate beautifully with all these beautiful people around the world. Then that president of Egypt at that time made a decision that they don't need any more help of the Soviet people. And it was a devastating point to me. I really wanted to stay. I wanted to learn. Really, I felt incredibly happy there and being close with ALLA and touch pyramids and touch ancient history, the richness of life and richness of culture. Anyhow, we were ordered to turn to Siberia. And eventually, at that time, the situation in Soviet Union became practically intolerable. We didn't have any food. We couldn't own an apartment or house or anything like that. So nobody knew what does it mean private ownership. Nobody knew what does it mean democracy. At one point, I came to complete realization that there is no hope in the country. I am going to try to immigrate. So, coming to the United States, I was working as a teacher at first English, then teacher of art. I started moving from trying to build something, recover, and surviving, toward creating my dream, which is our Dickson Kingdom, where we live, creating orchard in memory of my grandparents, creating flower beds, having our dogs and chickens. Everything we're doing here, we're doing with our own hands, and that's something magical. As a human being, we all have unlimited potential. You have to be creative. You have no idea how resourceful you can become. Every single human being is kind by nature. So when people saying, oh, our world is so angry right now, or so negative right now, or this or that, no. We all, as human, including not human. I mean, look at the animals. I'm watching my dogs raising their ducklings, cat, kittens. Life is incredibly caring, and we're the same. I also traveled to Syria, Pakistan, Vietnam, countries like that intentionally. I wanted to go where nobody goes, to experience who people are. How do we learn? Being respectful and understand their culture. Every morning I go outside bare feet, sometimes naked, to experience that boost of energy. People are, oh, you're crazy. Yes, I'm crazy. Let's do crazy things. That's how we stretch our potentiality. That's how we learn what we're capable of. Taking a risk. Always. Every day. You have to take risk. So some people ask question why? And I would always ask, why not?